What's new on Grab It TV? Absolutely everything. We've got daily news shows, sports, weather, comedy, inspirational shows, fast cars, and a whole lot more. If you aren't watching Grab It TV, you're really missing out. It's free for you and free from censorship. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Super Bowl bye week in the National Football League. You are watching World of Matchups. My name is Dexter Reed, and I am your host this week and every single week, breaking down every single matchup in the National Football League. We are transmitting to you live and direct from the Grab It Television Studios in sunny, yet cold, Las Vegas, Nevada. To my right, I have a man that needs no introduction anywhere in the civilized free world. Ladies and gentlemen, on the controls, as always, Mr. Spencer the Wiz. Spencer, say what's up to the people, man.
What's going on? Favorite week of the year, Pro Bowl. Heyo.
Not a big Pro Bowl fan, but it is what it is. This week off always kills me, especially if my team is in it. I'm almost happy my team's not in it this week, so I can have a little break. So, lots, as always, is happening in the National Football League, and we start off the show with quick hitters. But before we do, I feel like we need to take a second and have a true moment of silence for basically everything that I said on this show last week, because none of it came to fruition. Andy Reid. Jimmy Garoppolo. Tom Brady. Niner defense. Thank you for allowing me to have that moment of silence. It's very, very rare that I have to bury an entire show. More times than not, I'd like to think I know what I'm talking about here in World of Matches. But sometimes they're just flat out wrong. And last week was one of those weeks. Hopefully you're not homeless over it. To the quick hitters, let's roll. Jim Harbaugh was a finalist for the Vikings head coach position, but he will go back to Michigan, where it's nice and comfortable in Ann Arbor, because obviously there was not a fit for where he was supposed to go, as was rumored, to the Minnesota Vikings, or maybe he just doesn't want the heat. I don't know. Either way, Ann Arbor, you get this guy back for another year. I'm not so sure that Jim Harbaugh will ever coach in the NFL again, and I'm perfectly okay with that. Next. The NFL Network's Tom Pelissero reports that the Vikings are zeroing in on Rams OC Kevin O'Connell for their new head coach. Now, Kevin O'Connell's in the Super Bowl. You know, let this guy breathe. He's got a big job at hand right now, but this is the guy that they're zeroing in on bringing in. I don't understand this potential hire, Spencer, at all.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. It feels like it's like hiring a defensive coordinator from the Patriots. You know damn well that they are not calling defensive plays. Like, that's Bill Belichick's job. And it feels like that's what is going on for the Rams. Of course, we don't know what the day-to-day operation. We don't know what it's like actually on the sideline for the Rams. But Sean McVay is the offensive mind that, runs this team.
He's the evil genius.
This guy, I don't know if he's ready to just become a head coach. It's kind of a weird hiring.
It falls under the Matt Eberflus hiring in my book. It's Matt Eberflus 2.0. Look, you've got decent players in Minnesota, but they need a leader of men. Is this really the guy? I mean, I'm no football executive. I'm not back there vetting guys. But no one really knew who this guy was before this even came out. Sean McVay is the straw that stirs the Rams' drink. I think this is another terrible hire.
It's like the Matt Patricia. It just feels like that.
Oh, just makes me sick to my stomach, especially knowing that there are some more qualified men out there who have yet to even get interviews. And I'll leave it at that until we get into that. Tom Brady, the GOAT of all GOATs, finally decides to hang it up. Boy, was I wrong about this. Giselle just tightened the freaking screws to that guy's balls, and that's it. So it comes out Tuesday. Shefty says that it's going to be it for him. It's a wrap. Then all of a sudden, there's some pushback from Tom Brady's camp. Tom Brady's dad comes out, and he's like, my son hasn't made a decision. Brady's agent comes out, says he's still mulling retirement. He calls Tampa Bay. He's like, I never retired. I think basically what happened is Schefter broke the news a little bit too early. He was right. And then Tom Brady got, his panties all twisted because it didn't happen very Derek Jeter-ish, the way he wanted it to go. He didn't get to say it in his Instagram post from his couch. It got leaked. And so 3 or 4 days later, he was just like, you know what, I'm done.
Hey, here's the thing about this. There are rats out there still. There are rats.
Oh, shit! A rat! There's a rat!
Tom Brady didn't want this to come out.
He did not want it to come out.
You're 100% right. He was going to retire, but he wanted to announce it himself.
He wants to do it himself. He's Tom Brady.
You can't trust anybody in your circle, man.
Dude, none. Even your friends will look out to jab you. And, I was mad at Adam Schefter for a minute saying that he maybe lost some credibility.
Yeah.
But Schefter never lost. Let's be honest. Schefter never lost. Okay? You show me a fight that Schefter lost.
Yeah.
I want to see it. He's always right. So if he's breaking it, it must be true. And I just think Tom Brady got butthurt about it and wanted to go out the way he wanted to go out. He wants to be the main news. He wants to be the star of the show until he is 100% gone. And so there was the brushback, and then it finally came out. And just when you think it was going to be Tom Brady on stage doing what he needs to do, here comes Brian Flores.
It was about a day of Tom Brady news, honestly. Maybe one day.
Not even, man.
Yeah.
Not even.
Yeah.
And I'm shocked because ESPN usually swings from these guys nuts. When Manning retired, that's all you heard about for 5 days. And it was like, okay, Tom Brady's gone. They ran his little thing on the screen, and they were like, he's done. No one's sad to see this guy go.
Hey, there was a lot of news this week, too, that there's a name change in the NFL.
There's a whole bunch of stuff
Nobody
going
knows
on.
about any of that stuff anymore. And maybe Washington prefers it that way. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I know they said they were going to come out in February with it, but it's like, does it really seem like the right time?
No one cares, man. No one really
Yeah.
cares. But, Brady, look, I went from a Brady hater to a Brady lover to being lukewarm on Tom Brady. And the bottom line is just like we were talking about earlier, you're a little bit younger than me, but in my 20s, this is it. It was the Tom Brady show. I mean, I know there's Spygate. I know there's Deflategate. We know the Patriots cheated. But the bottom line is that what they did is magical, and we'll probably never see it again. We keep trying to anoint these new dynasties, and they all keep falling flat. Tom Brady is the GOAT. He will always be the GOAT. 7 rings will never be touched. And the bottom line is, love him or hate him, the guy deserves his flowers. So we've put this tribute on tape for you, Tom Brady, to let you know that while we're happy to see you go, we respect you and what you did. Roll film, Spencer.
Tom Brady showed some great poise in preseason. Let's see if it carries over to the season. Touchdown, Tom Brady! The Patriots are back in it.
Here are the American Football Conference champions.
Fires right. Touchdown, Super Bowl champions! Super Bowl champions! Yeah! Guess who we avoided? Urlacher. Brady leaps into the end zone. Touchdown!
Throws down the middle for Gronkowski. Makes the catch. My God, I'm seeing it all now by this guy. Lobs it to the right side for Gronkowski. Has a step, has a touchdown. Patriots! Tom Brady, 6-time champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome tonight's visitors, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Wow.
The one thing I'll say about Tom Brady that I think makes him so great, like he loves winning. Like we all know he loves winning, but I think even more he hates losing.
He hates to lose.
He hates to lose, and that is what drives him. Like Aaron Rodgers, he's okay with losing. Aaron Rodgers likes to win, but he didn't care if he loses or not.
Tom Brady is not okay with losing.
No, it burns in his mind. Like he cannot stand it.
Tom Brady would cut off his own genitalia for another Super Bowl win. Tom Brady will be talking to his grandkids about a intercepted ball that he should have never thrown in the third quarter of a meaningless game 20 years ago.
I've
never seen a guy more driven to win. And at this point, quite honestly, like if you hate Tom Brady, you just don't respect the game. You can not like the guy, but the bottom line, he did what he did, and he was great at it for a long, long time. And this is truly an end of an era. You know what I mean? I mean, look at these quarterbacks. Brady, Manning, Breeze, Big Ben, Peyton, Phillip Rivers. This is what I grew up on. It's over. I mean, pour out a little liquor, because what you're seeing now is a new regime, and these guys held us down for 20 years. 20 years, man.
I'm not so convinced that the next generation of quarterbacks will stand up to.
I don't think they will. I don't think
these
they
guys
will.
all broke all the records. And I'm not saying that Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen can't be there, but
No, they're good
I mean, they were like
players.
5
They're
or 6
great players.
consistently Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Yeah,
in
they're
this
great
era.
players, but they pale in comparison to these. I mean, even a tweener guy who got stuck in between both groups, like Russell Wilson, you know what I mean? Like, when he had to have it, did he get it? And maybe not his fault, you know what I mean? But, like, this is the National Football League right there.
They built the foundation of what it is today.
What we're seeing moving forward is going to be something different. You
Yeah.
know, this is the Paul Tagliabue post-Marino Montana group that, I mean, these 6 quarterbacks, when you look at what they've defined, look at their numbers collectively, you'll never see this again.
Well, I guess we'll have to see, but I don't see it yet. I still feel like we're maybe 1 or 2 great quarterbacks away from the next era. I think we
Yeah.
have 3 right now,
You have 3 right now.
but that's
That's substantial. But
Yeah.
this is 6.
it's 6.
Even a guy like Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers was a G. He never won anything, but there's no denying what he did on the field. Phillip Rivers was a warrior. He's
No
a
doubt.
warrior. And he's the worst out of the 6.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
For
Hard
sure.
to argue. So, sorry, Tom Brady. We're going to rain on your parade because Brian Flores has got something to say. Okay? He's suing the NFL for racial discrimination just hours after Brady announces his retirement. You want to talk about shitting in someone's cornflakes. Okay? But I'm here to tell you, I'm Team Flores. So if you're that guy, stop watching now. Because I'm Team Flores. Okay? He sues the league and teams for contending that the NFL fosters hiring processes that are racially discriminate. Flores, who is black, was fired by the Dolphins last month. In a blockbuster lawsuit, he says he was offered $100,000 per loss in 2019 by the Dolphins owner Stephen Ross, who wanted to tank to improve the draft position and build a contender, and that his refusal to go along with the plan resulted in him being fired at the end of 2021 season with a 24-25 career record. Now, there is a lot to impact here. A lot to unpack. Okay? There's receipts all over the place. Brian Flores, we're like, he's out there looking for jobs. He's being interviewed. No. Brian Flores is in the lab. Okay? He's got text messages. He's got people coming on board with him. Hugh Jackson's like, yeah, well, you know, that kind of actually happened to me, bro, so let's lock arms here. Okay? He goes on to say, he asserted that he received a congratulatory text message from Patriots head coach Bill Belichick that plainly shows his interview with the New York Giants was an absolute sham. It was a farce. Okay? It says, that's because BB revealed that he meant to text Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator Brian Daboll, who wasn't hired by the Giants, and not Flores. Also a former Belichick assistant. The text from Belichick hit Flores' phone 3 days, 72 hours before he was supposed to even be interviewed. Bro, you want to talk about stepping in the pothole. And Bill Belichick is as meticulous as they come, but I smell a rat here. Your thoughts?
Well, the one thing I want to say about there's a couple things, but the one thing I want to say about the text message is that just shows his age. That he probably doesn't have names saved in his phone.
Or Bill Belichick is Team Petty. We know he's Coach Petty. He may be doing this on purpose. I mean, that's a conspiracy theory that
I don't know.
Could have a little gas behind it, because we all know how Bill Belichick gets along with the NFL, or doesn't. But I think Brian Flores has a leg to stand on here.
Yeah, well, yes, I agree with you 100% on that, and I do think this lawsuit is in a weird direction because there's two separate things. There's discriminate practices, and then also the betting side of this, which I think is going to take more of a name than the practices part, because when you go into a criminal court, or you're going to have to prove to a lot of people that there was this, and then everyone's going to say they had a chance. I mean, you do have the text messages, but that's only one piece of evidence, right? And you got to convince the jury, of that wrongdoing. It's very difficult to do that.
Of course. I mean, anytime you're determining things like that.
Yeah, but the other side of it is if there was game fixing,
that
is a whole separate issue. I mean, the NFL has partnerships with betting places now.
That would kill the league.
I can't think of a worse scandal. It's literally as bad as it gets.
That would be the Black Sox scandal of 2022.
Jamie Foxx would have to come on and apologize. And, you know what I'm talking about? The BetMGM commercials were on every single football game.
Every other commercial.
You want to make every game interesting? Step 1, open the BetMGM Sportsbook. Step 2, put some skin in the game. And step 3, showtime.
The Caesars betting, every other commercial.
It would be a massive collapse. I mean, I think the NFL cares way more about that than they do. I think they're going to be willing to pay him whatever amount he wants to retire for the rest of his life tenfold.
Yeah.
Kind of like Colin Kaepernick, like we were talking about. But, the game-fixing thing, that's
big problem.
Big deal.
Well, yeah, there's several different aspects to it, and throw up some of that other stuff that I sent you. I mean, people are coming on board and locking arms with Brian Flores here. I mean, you and I, we just listened to what Tyrann Mathieu said about it. I mean, the fact that, there's only one black head coach right now shows that the Rooney Rule has worked against the league. It really didn't do anything to help, minorities in the National Football League, and I think that Brian Flores will be Kaepernicked. This is career suicide. And I take my hat off to him to go after the league. Now, what I would like to see happen is him not do what Colin Kaepernick did and take the money. See, a couple of years after Kaepernick came out and sued the league, there was an undisclosed amount of money that he was paid. No one will ever know what it is. All the records for all of that was sealed, and he kind of went away. Pops up at basketball games here or there, but you don't really hear about anything from Colin Kaepernick anymore because it could have been in excess of $100 million. You just don't know. The NFL will pay that money to have you go away. Now, they're going to try to do Brian Flores this way because they don't want their sheets pulled because, like you said, gambling, you know what I mean? Oh, my God, tanking. It's not – it goes way – there's the racial discrimination part. But like you said, once we start talking X's and O's, hash marks on the field, points shaving and things like that, now you're looking at the integrity of the league. And you know who's behind that. That's the dictator. Then we're talking about we're now entering Roger Goodell's house and taking his laptop. You know what I mean? And so the NFL definitely doesn't want to go that route, okay? So they come out with this BS statement on Brian Flores' lawsuit, literally like 2 hours after it came out, and says the NFL and our clubs are deeply committed to ensuring equitable employment practices and continue to make progress in providing equitable opportunities throughout our organizations, which is complete nonsense, okay? Diversity is core to everything we do, and there are a few issues on which our clubs and our internal leadership team spend more time. We will defend against these claims, which are without merit. How do you know they're without merit? This came out two hours ago. How do you know they're without merit? First of all, notice how that's not signed Roger Goodell. Notice that?
They can be true or not true. I can tell you right now there's merit. We already know there is merit.
I would bet my life that what Brian Flores is saying is true.
The league is owned by 32
rich
billionaires.
White billionaires. And don't try to come at me for this turning into a white-black thing. This turned itself into a white-black thing long before World of Matches decided to talk about it. So if you at home and you mad, be mad. But the fact of the matter is that Mike Tomlin is the only black NFL head coach left in the league. Eric Bieniemy couldn't get a job if he bought one. There are bums getting head coaching jobs. So kudos to Brian Flores for going after the NFL. I'm Team Flores.
The Bears hired Eberflus. That's all I need to know about the hiring practices in the NFL.
What a joke. And kudos to Peter King. How exactly could the NFL know the claims from Flores are without merit? How do you know that 2 hours after he comes out? Please, somebody tell me. Please, Brian Flores, for all things that are holy. Bro, your career is basically over, okay? Do us all a favor and take this all the way to the end. Go to the mat. Get the best representatives you can. Lock arms with Hugh Jackson, who is agreeing with you and saying that the same things happened in Cleveland. Go after the league. Don't take the money. They are going to try to buy you off. Don't let yourself get Kaepernicked here. Okay? If you want to see real change, then you have to be the conduit for this change. Don't get bought. You have a lot of people like me. You got a lot of people like Rob the Raider. You got a lot of people around the league who are standing behind you saying that this is nonsense and has to stop. But if you let yourself be bought, you should have never set the lawsuit out to begin with. Mic drop. Next. Tyler Higbee suffered a sprained MCL in the NFC Championship game. Tight end for the Cincinnati Bengals, Mr. C.J. Uzomah, he suffered the same injury in the AFC Championship game. Both guys looked like they were done for the season. Now both guys are probably going to find a way to play. You know these guys are playing. Those guys will be out there on crutches. They're not going to let these opportunities for them to shine under the world's biggest screen go away. They're going to rest. They're going to get massages, whatever that needs to happen. They are going to play. Even if they're decoys, those two will be on the field next Sunday. Next. This is upsetting, okay? The Washington football team has renamed itself the Washington Commanders. This is awful. I'm sorry, man. What happened to the Admirals? And that was awful, too. You like it. I don't like it.
I wish they would have made a logo. They're just sticking with the W. That's
terrible.
I don't know.
Come on, you guys can do it better, man. The Washington Brigade would be fire.
That would have been better.
Fire.
I like that a lot better.
With a logo. You got to have a logo, bro.
I think you do, too.
You spent all this time hyping it up, leaking it. No logo?
Gave some fake intel to Boomer Ice.
You got the dope colors. Your colors are fire.
No, it's nice. Their unis are nice.
Unis are great. Come on, guys. You couldn't have done better than this. The capital. I'm not a fan. Okay?
It's just one of those things
I'm not
you'll
a
get
fan.
used to. In 10 years, we'll be calling the Washington Commanders like nothing happened.
Well, I don't know about that, man.
It's just 'cause it's so
out of
new.
respect for my melanin brothers and sisters out there, I don't call them the Redskins anymore. But I will call them the Washington football team. I'll call them the Washington football. I don't like Commanders.
Maybe they should have just kept the Washington football
You're
team.
out there in the stands, right? It's 4th and 1 to win the Super Bowl. How is your fans cheering? Go, come. How do you? It's not like go Raiders. It's not like go Chiefs.
It's because of the syllables, I think.
Half those guys, they're like marbles in their mouth. What do you call them? Commies?
It's because there's 3 syllables, probably.
Commanders.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, like, I mean, I know, like, I feel like it's overblown, the idea that your name should, like, incite fear. But I don't know, the Raiders, the Steelers, like, those sound so, like, I know Commander's strong, but that's like an outdated term.
It's weak,
A
dude.
commander.
Admirals would have been better. And I hated that, too. Next. Patriots OC Josh McDaniels has been named HC for the Las Vegas Raiders. I'll be the first one to tell you I didn't like this hire. I know Spencer likes it. We'll hear from my homeboy Rob the Raider here shortly, and we'll get his take on, the Vegas Raiders moving forward. I think Rich Bisaccia got jobbed. I believe in momentum. I believe in, player coaches relationships. I know a lot of people think that he just kind of overachieved later in the year, but I saw that man do more with less, and he deserved at least the interim tag taken off for a year. Now you bring in big name Josh McDaniels. Everyone thinks that these guys come from the Patriots, that all of a sudden they're going to be like the Patriots. And look, I'm not saying it's Matt Patricia 2.0. I'm not saying that. But I never liked Josh McDaniels. I never liked him in Denver. I never liked this guy. And I think that teams like the Raiders are always trying to splash. We got to splash. What's the big splash? Sometimes the splash works against you, especially when you just have a meat and potatoes guy. I mean, is Josh McDaniels sitting down writing letters to 52 players thanking them for their service? Dude, Rich Bisaccia was dope. And I'm a Chief fan. I love that guy. And now he potentially will leave Vegas too, which is Raiders gonna Raider. Your thoughts on Josh McDaniels? I know you like the guy.
It's not so much that I love the guy and that I think it's the best hire of the offseason. I definitely think it's one of the better ones personally. There was the whole, I was pretty young when he was in Denver, so I don't really remember that time too much.
He was awful.
I don't have a personal kind of relationship with that.
Yeah.
But I know he was bad. But he was a young coach at the time, probably way too young, just like when the Raiders hired Dennis Allen. He wasn't ready at the time.
Yeah.
But I will say this about the hire, and it feels like the first decision, real decision that Mark Davis has made for the team. A lot of no one loves the history of the Raiders more than Mark Davis.
Mm-hmm.
That guy, it's his dad's franchise, but he genuinely has that kind of feelings for the team, and he was built off of nostalgia for a long time.
Yeah. The history is everything.
He brought back John Gruden. Just a horrible decision, right? And then John Gruden brings his buddy, and it's pretty much a disaster through and through. But this is one where you could tell during his press conference, because I'm a Raiders junkie. I watched their 50-minute press conference where they didn't talk about really anything. But I could just tell on Mark's face that he was very happy about the decision that he made. And he felt like that was what he wanted to do. This was he felt like he sat down and he did his research. I know they interviewed Rich Bisaccia for 5 hours or whatever. But these are the guys that he wants to bring into his franchise. And hopefully this means that Mark Davis wants to create a legacy of his own and not just be Al Davis 2.0.
Yeah.
So that was what I was happiest the most. But, all eyes will be on the team for NFL draft come April because every Raiders fan has been dreading that day, me and probably more than anybody, because it's been just a colossal failure for the past 3 years.
It's a nightmare. It's going to be really interesting to see how McDaniels works with Derek Carr. I think that's must-see TV.
That's it.
Bisaccia and Carr loved each other. Carr was rooting for Bisaccia.
They better do whatever. They better make him the highest paid special teams coach in the NFL.
God.
They have to keep this guy in the
They have
organization.
to keep this guy and watch them let him go. Next, the New York Football Giants hired former Bills offensive coordinator Mr. Brian Daboll, one of the few hires that I really like this year. I like Daboll. I do. I think that he deserved a shot. He's been around the league now. He's got some stones to him. I think he is going to be a no-nonsense guy for New York. And while there may have been other candidates, I think this is the one that he suited the best. He suited the best. Now, hopefully, him and the new GM can work. You know what I mean?
Hopefully they can make any sort of positive decisions.
They are coming out and saying that they are doubling down and pushing their chips to the middle of the table to support Daniel Jones and make him the quarterback that everybody thought he was supposed to be when he was drafted early.
Absolutely the best point that you could make about this hire, because if you look at the Raiders, they didn't say anything bad about Derek Carr. They were dotting their I's, crossing their T's, but they did not commit to Derek Carr past the last year of his contract. The Giants were like, yeah, this guy is our franchise quarterback.
On Daniel Jones. Period. End of statement. If you don't like it, now's the time to put on a different uniform. And I like that.
I mean,
like that.
You got to give guys a chance.
You got to give
them
a chance.
When you look at Josh Rosen and stuff, guys' careers have been ruined.
Josh Rosen was passed around the league like a blunt. Let's be honest.
Like a beach ball at a Nickelback concert.
Terrible. So bad. Next. The Pro Bowl's this Sunday at Allegiant Stadium. No one cares. AG Magic was trying to get me to go. Tickets are really expensive. These guys are practicing this week at the stadium in Summerlin where the minor league, affiliate for the Oakland A's plays. What's the name of the team again? The Aviators. I saw a little bit of it online. My wife was like, do you want to go? I said, no, I'm in mourning, so I'm not going to go. But no one really cares about the Pro Bowl anyway. No, it's just I like the Pro Bowl better when the guys got to go to Hawaii. Because at least they got like a little vacation out of it. Everyone goes to Vegas. No one really cares. Somehow they're going to fill the stadium. It'll be really interesting to see what it looks like. Next, Jalen Hurts had surgery on his injured ankle on Wednesday. Fully expected to make 100% recovery, be under center, taking snaps for the Philadelphia Eagles next year. I like Hurts. I think Hurts is got the potential to be a blow-up player, but it's all about what they do with him and the coaching. He looked absolutely lost versus Tampa Bay in the playoffs this year, and maybe he wasn't 100%. The Eagles got some work to do. The Eagles have a lot of picks. The Eagles have a lot of capital. Don't be surprised if you see him being kind of like poor man's black, I don't know. What's the analogy I'm looking for here? Who's the best running quarterback you've ever seen?
Well, Michael Vick is the best running quarterback I've ever seen.
So who's the best white running quarterback?
Josh Allen.
It's got to be Josh Allen, but I don't know if he's on Josh Allen's
I don't
level
think he
yet.
has the arm strength.
You know what I mean? He doesn't have the arm strength, but I'm talking running ability.
His game reminds me a bit of Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, he's more of on the Colin Kaepernick side.
Not
of
a great passer, a really good
passer.
runner.
They need to give him some help.
You can win with Jalen Hurts.
Let me tell you something. If they get another stud receiver, now you're cooking with gas.
Yeah.
Because you got Goddard, you got Devonta Smith. They need another guy.
I don't feel like he's going to be the reason you win a Super Bowl, but he won't be the reason
He
you
won't
lose
lose it
one.
for you.
Yeah.
He's kind of like McNabb.
A little bit.
It's kind of
That's a
like
good one.
McNabb. Kind of like McNabb. The NFL fined Kansas City Chiefs star Tyreek Hill $10,300 for taunting Buffalo Bills linebacker Matt Milano. We talked about this last week. Tyreek Hill, he gets fined every week now. That's just kind of what it is. He threw up the peace sign 15 yards before the end zone. Me personally, if the NFL was on the up and up, there would have been a flag on the play during the game. But like I said once, I'm going to say it a million times, I believe the NFL is scripted. They let things go so certain outcomes can happen, and this is why, and I said it last week, point blank, I'm like, during the week sometime, he's going to get a fine, and that's exactly what happened. So all was not lost from my predictions last week. We don't have to play taps again. Next, the Kansas City Chiefs, they released cornerback Damon Arnett. This has got to be the dumbest player in the National Football League. It really has to be. I mean, I just don't get it. You get a second lease on life, a very, very great, proud franchise. Who needs cornerback help? Gives you a futures contract, and what do? You pull a gun on a valet over your car and get arrested. This is the second time this guy's been arrested in, 3 months?
First of all, he is the dumbest person ever.
He's the dumbest athlete on earth.
But here's the thing. I mean, I know it's just the Raiders drafted him in the first round. And look, I know guys take risks on questionable moral people all the time.
That's a horrible pick.
It's the NFL. In the interview process, when you talk to the guy, I can't imagine it wasn't pretty apparent about who he was. If you like him so much,
take him in his head.
Take him in the third round or something. I don't know.
You could have got this guy in the 6th round.
Ugh.
And I'll tell you what, the Kansas City Chiefs, man, boy, it used to be about upstanding citizens. They'll bring anybody in now. They'll bring Dexter Reed at 20 years old, which wasn't an upstanding citizen. They'll bring me in. You know what I mean? Like, I'll rob your cupboards. They'll have me in Kansas City.
Taking a playbook from the Patriots.
It's insane. I mean, come on. And now this guy's probably career ended, done. No one's going to take a shot at this guy again. And you know what? Truth be told, he stunk, which just goes to show you how desperate some teams are for cornerback help that they'll bring in a bum like Damon Arnett. And finally, the Jaguars hired ex-Eagles coach Doug Peterson as HC. I like this hiring. This is one that Daboll I like, and I like this one. This one broke late last night. Look, when Carson Wentz was having his MVP-type season, who was the coach? Who beat Brady in the Super Bowl? I'm sorry, if you beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, you eat free dinners for life wherever that happened. That guy should never pay for another meal in Philadelphia for the rest of his life.
You got a Super Bowl out of Nick Foles.
Nick Foles got you a Super Bowl. That guy deserves a shot. Now, when I look at Trevor Lawrence, I kind of see Carson Wentz. I kind of see it. He gets a shot here. He's going to get Trent Baalke out of there, which is
gone.
Also Trent Baalke, pack your bags, homeboy. I better see you on my cruise at the end of the month. You're done. You're done in Jacksonville, okay? They're going to get Rick Spielman, which is a huge hire. I'm telling you, Spielman together with Peterson, picks, draft capital, number 1 pick, and franchise quarterback only means all arrows are going up in Jacksonville. It's sunny. No one's going to expect anything from you year 1. No one's going to expect anything from you year 2. So you're on a 3-year window to potentially at least win 7-8 games. I love this hiring.
Yeah, it feels like they made the right decision here, in my opinion. Like this wasn't even on my radar. I forgot. We looked it up. He wasn't coaching last year.
I had to look up what this guy was doing last year. He was eating Doritos on the couch.
Yeah.
On the couch. He wasn't doing nothing.
Feels like it's a year late, and it feels like they also hired him really late into this cycle too. Like the draft is coming up, but at the end of the day, I kind of get it because he had buyer's remorse for Urban Meyer. He wanted to do. The owner of the Jaguars wanted to do his research before making this, but yeah, hopefully they can go in the right direction now because I actually like Trevor Lawrence.
I think Shad Khan got this right.
Yeah,
finally, and this is why I think you also wait. The hot OC, the hot DC is not always the hot hire for HC. You got a guy like this who's got a Super Bowl ring. First of all, him being out of football is egregious.
Yeah,
that's egregious. Terrible job by the National Football League. I will take this guy doing something on my team anywhere, any day of the week. All right, folks, those are the quick or maybe not so quick hitters. We like to wax poetic and talk about football. That's what we do here at World of Matchups. Me, Spencer, Beavis, and Butthead of football. That's just kind of what we do. So, before we move on, just let you know that we're everywhere on social media. Please find us. We're all over Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have a TikTok page. We have our own YouTube page. Like, subscribe, and you can go to Grab It Television, put in your email address, and make an account. So when the information hits us, we send it to you. You can show us some love, and we'll show some back. Grab It TV. It is free. 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 Not like Biden free, but it's really free. Where, you're not going to get, screwed for it later. So hit us up. Let us know you're out there because there's a lot of content there other than World of Matchups that you definitely want to be checking out, and the information is there. We just want to give it to you, but we can't do that unless you sign up. Grab It Television. If YouTube and Netflix had a baby, GRABET, holler at us so we can holler back. All right, folks, only 2 games last week. We're moving on to our Roast the Ref segment, but as always, even though there's only 2 games, there's going to be some blown calls that need to be discussed, and that's what we're going to do after we pay some bills. My name is Dexter Reed. We're going to come back on the flip, and we are going to roast the refs.
Quarterback's arm.
No, God!
It is an incomplete pass.
No, God, please,
Pass
no!
is incomplete. No flag.
No!
All right, folks, we're back doing what we do every week, finding where the refs have dropped the ball in the National Football League. We only have 3 clips for you this week, but they're 3 important clips, okay? Roast the Refs, sponsored by Heroes Heating and Air, Medford, Oregon. Check out heroesheatingandair.com for all your service needs. So the first clip, this is going to be a missed fumble on Joe Mixon. Now, this is an important play that was missed. Kansas City is on their deathbed. Cincinnati's running out the clock. They're going to go for the win. But if you look at this closely, Joe Mixon's not tackled here. He just goes down. He gets up. He's fired up. And don't get me wrong, I love Joe Mixon. He's my favorite running back. But he gets up, tosses the ball away, thinking he's tackled, and he's not tackled. Kansas City picks up the ball. That should be Kansas City ball. First down.
Yeah.
Okay? And what do the refs do? They blow the whistle dead. Can you imagine if they actually got that right, Spencer? Kansas City's back from the dead with a chance to win after stinking up the joint all second half. I think they would have found a way to win this game.
Yeah, this is a tough play because when I watched it live, I think everybody saw that he wasn't touched. He
wasn't touched.
He bumped into one of his players, thinking it was a Chiefs player. But here's what I'll say about it and why I think at the end of the day it was the right call. Because when he dropped, he gave himself up, meaning that he made no attempt to get back up. When you take a knee or when a player goes down following an interception at the end of the game.
They pop up and try to take off.
Well, no, when it's it's the end of the game, they get the interception and they just kind of slide down.
Yeah.
And they give up their position that they're trying to move forward again. It's exactly what he did because he didn't just immediately pop up. He did go down for a second, kind of gather himself, get up. It's a tough call. I agree with you. It's one of the most bizarre plays I've seen in the playoffs in a really long time.
In a long time. And again, you've known me for a while now. Rob, the Raiders know me for a while now. I am about the letter of the law. That's what I'm about, whether it goes against me or it goes for me. I'm about getting the call right. I never want a gift win, ever. And I don't want anybody getting gift wins against my team. Now, again, Kansas City, they smelled like a Penn Station bathroom in August. They were awful. But the call is the call. And Helen Keller can see that he was untouched. That play gives Helen Keller vision. It was so bad. Run it again, please.
Yeah.
2nd and 3, they're going for the win. The cut, the split, he just goes down and gets up and pops the ball. That's a fumble, bro.
Yeah, it's a fumble. It is.
It's a fumble.
It's
There's
a fumble.
no, you can't talk me off it. I hear what you're saying, but the bottom line is a fumble is a fumble. And this is why I take issue with the NFL and the referees, because the rules, it's almost like, it's like the New York, it's like the American justice system. Everybody knew OJ deserved to go to jail for killing that woman. Everybody knows that, right? But what happened? The rules are different depending on who you are. And I'm not saying they're trying to push Joe Burrow into the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that. Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals have earned that. But I'm not saying that as well. Next. No pass interference on Rashad Fenton. How is this not pass interference, folks? That's textbook pass interference. And let me say something. I mean, I might as well warm up the bus here, because what's coming for Kansas City here is going to be the most epic rant you have ever heard from me on World of Matchups, ever. Like, you're going to be telling your children I was there when he said this, okay? Kansas City got like 6 pass interference calls not called on them, and they still stunk up the joint. How in God's name is this not pass interference? That's textbook pass interference. Why did not call that?
No, I mean, that was the worst call of the game for me.
That was the worst call of the game. Rashad Fenton might as well give him a tongue bath. That's terrible. Next. And finally, pass interference on Eli Apple. Look, Mahomes throws it deep. Tyreek's in the end zone. How is this pass interference on Eli Apple, first of all? The ball is 15 feet over Tyreek's head. The ball has to be catchable. I mean, am I wrong here? Do I not know the rules? Doesn't pass interference, does the ball have to be catchable?
Not anymore.
The ball has to be catchable. Tyreek is 5'11", wearing heels. That ball was 10 feet over his head. And look, I know Eli Apple was getting roasted all game long, but you cannot throw a flag there. The ball has to be catchable. This is what I'm talking about in the National Football League. There's no consistency at all. I go to Yama Sushi, shameless plug. I love it there because when I go, the food is consistent. Every single time I go. When I order my food, it's the same as it was the time before that, and the time before that, and the time before that. Okay? I want sponsorship from you, Yama Sushi. I'm coming for you guys. You guys will support me on this next year. Every single time it's consistent. In the NFL, well, this week is this, and this week is this. And I'm no lover of the Bengals defense or nothing. But again, the one thing you'll always be able to say about Dexter Reed Jr. is that he calls it fair. There's no way that should have been pass interference, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, he lost the ball. Like,
ridiculous.
That's all I need to know.
Ridiculous. All right, folks, that's it for Roast and Rest. We're coming back with our mailbag. All right, folks, it's the time of the show where we get into our mailbag, where we talk about what you want to talk about, and then a lot of the things that obviously we want to talk about. Why? Because it's our show, and we do what we want to do. Let's get started with my friend Danny O'Brien, friend of the show, talking about why would the Chiefs not take the points to end the half with only 5 seconds left on the clock. I have a lot to say about this, and I'm going to ask you guys to please bear with me. If you are a Kansas City Chief homer, now is the time to go watch something else. You know, go on Joe Rogan or something else, because you're not going to want to hear this, because most people don't like hearing what's real. Nope, most people don't want to hear the truth, okay? So, first things first. The Chiefs got greedy in this game, okay? They got greedy. And I think personally that this was probably, from what I'm reading, Patrick Mahomes' decision, kind of force Andy, come on, let's go for the kill shot. What you have to understand in football sometimes is when you're doing pretty much whatever you want on the field, take the easy points. The Bengals defense could not stop Kansas City for the first 3 drives. It looked like a Super Bowl team versus a high school team. You're on the inside the 5. I think it was the 1-yard line. Okay, why they wouldn't run the ball here is, first of all, somebody should be completely fired for that. But take the points. Instead, what do? You throw a Derek Carr pass behind the line of scrimmage, and Eli Apple, of all people, okay, tackles you and ends the half. Now, what happens there? A number of things happen there, okay? This is, number one, a momentum-changing play. Momentum-changing. This gives a team life. And any Kansas City Chief fan who's been a diehard, lifelong fan like I have for the past 30 years at that point says to themselves, here we go again. Here we go again. And if you weren't saying that, or you weren't even thinking that there was an ounce of that feeling in your heart and your mind, you're a liar. You're a liar. Okay? Here we go again. So what does that mean? That means that we have one of the worst big game coaches coaching our team. That's what that means. And I will never back off this statement. This statement that's coming out of my mouth right now will be a statement that I stand on more than any other statement that has ever come out of my mouth in my entire life. Put this in quotes. I don't care what you want to do with it, but I will die on this hill. The biggest problem that the Kansas City Chiefs have is Andy Reid. Do I need to say it again? The biggest problem that the Kansas City Chiefs have is their head coach, Andy Reid. Can somebody explain to me how you have 4, not 3, not 2, not 1, 4 straight AFC championship games in your building, and you have 1 Super Bowl? When you have Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, you have 1 Super Bowl. Can somebody explain to me why, when you are running the ball at 6 yards a clip, you abandon the run? Why? And everyone's like, well, Patrick Mahomes choked. Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to get to Patrick Mahomes. We're talking about Andy Reid right now, okay? Spencer, if your quarterback is struggling mightily in the playoffs at home and you feel it slipping away, what is the number one thing you can do to help your quarterback?
Why don't you ask the head coach of the former head coach of the Falcons in his Super Bowl appearance? I think he might have the correct answer for you.
Run the football. Run the football. I said it a couple weeks ago. I was like, the non-commitment to running the football for 4 quarters will be doom for Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's exactly
your enemy
what happened.
is time at that point in the game. That is your time is the only thing keeping you from winning that game at that point.
Run the football. Jerick McKinnon, CEH, are running the football for 6 yards a carry. And you're throwing the ball all over the yard to nobody. And yes, Patrick Mahomes stunk. Yes, but you are the coach. You call the plays. Eric Bieniemy will not be the fall guy for this. This is on you. And I'm going to be nice. And I'm not going to even go back to the Philadelphia days. We'll just keep it Kansas City. Up 38-10 versus the Colts. Lose 45-44. 38-10!
How do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on?
21-3 at home to the Titans led by Marcus Mariota. And you lose that game at home. And you're up 21-3 with the ball inside the 5, and you get the ball back first. And you lose 27-24 in front of your fans. And you want to tell me, you want to talk about that's the defense's fault, and you want to talk about it's Patrick Mahomes' fault? There's blame to go around, but you're the coach. Do you realize the 3 biggest meltdowns in postseason history have Andy Reid's DNA all over it? All over it. But no one wants to talk about this. Everyone wants to give this guy a pass. Why?
It can't be a coincidence the third time around. It cannot possibly be.
I've been saying this for 7 years. I've got the receipts all over Facebook. I made a collage the other day and posted it from 2014 to 2022 of all the things I've seen this guy do wrong and posted it, and you guys just want to act like, oh, it's just another day. And look, please don't get me wrong. I am so grateful for what Andy Reid has done for the Kansas City Chiefs. In 2012, most people would have hung themselves trying to get through that season. The guy came in, the culture instantly changed. We won a bunch of games. It went 9-0 right away. So I'm not trying to sound like an ingrate. But dear Lord, when are we going to wake up and see what is real? When? Andy Reid lives to blow big games. Lives. And everyone wants to give him a pass. Dan Patrick talked about this in 2015. Other coaches are talking about this stuff 5-6 years ago, and we just want to ignore it. Andy Reid brought you a Super Bowl, Dex. You should be more grateful. Andy Reid brought me a Super Bowl? Did you watch this Super Bowl that I watched? Patrick Mahomes went to the sideline and said, Eric, do we have time to run WASP? Andy Reid was nowhere to be found. Andy Reid was in the porta potty. That is all Patrick Mahomes. 3rd and 15, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes does nothing but bail out Andy Reid. Andy Reid owes the first words out of his Hall of Fame speech better be thank you, Patrick Mahomes.
Do you put him on the level of Mike McCarthy bad, where he got only one Super Bowl out of Aaron Rodgers?
Andy Reid is Mike McCarthy with elite players. And you know what the Chiefs are now? Patrick Mahomes is that contract's about to kick in, fam. The 12th man, that's what the Chiefs are now. They are the Seattle Seahawks. They win a Super Bowl, find a way to blow the next Super Bowl, and aren't heard from again. We give Pete Carroll the business all the time, and then Andy Reid gets a pass. Why? And I hate to keep going on and on about this, but some of y'all need to wake up. The biggest problem Kansas City Chiefs has is Andy Reid, and they'll never get rid of him. They will never get rid of him.
You don't think it's going to be Eric Bieniemy's turn next year?
They will unless he retires, he's not going anywhere.
Wow.
And people want to take exception with me for the things that I say. We roast Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Roast. It's a hibachi in here. But Andy Reid gets a pass? Not on my show. Nope. I'm not a homer. And all you Chiefs homers out there, you want to take exception with me? I don't care. This is what's real. This is the truth. This is the truth. And what are they going to do? They're going to be a bunch of dummies. Chris Jones has 0 postseason sacks. 0.
Wow. He also just went up against the worst offensive line in postseason
They
history.
gave up 9 sacks the week before. 0. You know where Andy Reid is when the defense is on the field?
In and out.
He's talking to Patrick Mahomes. The last time I checked, doesn't coaching equate to coaching the entire team? But no, we'll just throw Spags under the bus. And somehow they're going to bring Tyrann Mathieu back for an egregious amount of money.
Ugh.
The worst mistake they could have made. Somebody show me the big play Tyrann Mathieu's made in the last 5 postseason games. I'll wait. You Chief homers need to wake up. Andy Reid is destroying this team. The tweets, there's 1 million of them. I was nice and only posted a few of them. Andy Reid is notorious for choking. The Heimlich maneuver was created for Andy Reid. It was created for Andy Reid. And I'm not ungrateful, but I'm tired of watching my team blow big leads in their building because of this guy. And if you think they lost that game for any other reason but the coach, you're nothing but a casual football fan. You casuals make me sick. You know that? Yeah, they're the same type of guys that watch football because you like the colors.
It's the same people who only talk about the MVP race in the NBA.
You don't know the X's and O's of football. You kidding me? Andy Reid couldn't read a clock if it was like the time management's abysmal. The play calling is deplorable. I would trust Joe Biden to be my coach on Sunday over Andy Reid. And he can't walk up a flight of stairs. I'm over it. And you can take this rant and post it anywhere in Kansas City, and I'll stand by every word I just said. Rant over. Next. Jimmy G needs to go. And I'm a big Jimmy G supporter. I love Jimmy Garoppolo. The guy's handsome. He's the face of a franchise, but you know they can't wait to get rid of this guy. Jimmy G is not a winner. All I keep hearing about is how Jimmy G is a winner. What has Jimmy G ever won except a bunch of regular season games? He might as well be Andy Reid's quarterback because everyone's just going to look at the wins. But when you need him, where is he? He's Casper the Friendly Ghost. Show this. Oh. Somebody call 911. Let me tell you something. If Jimmy G hits that throw in the Super Bowl right there, Andy Reid is being viewed as wasting the careers of not only Donovan McNabb, but Patrick Mahomes. And he was getting his wig blown off in that Super Bowl, and Patrick Mahomes saved him. Look at this throw. Jimmy G needs to hit that throw. We would be looking at Jimmy Garoppolo in a different light. That's a wide open bomb. Catch that bomb, the Chiefs are irrelevant.
He wasn't just off. He was off like...
He threw the ball 5 yards over the guy's head.
Oh.
Show this other throw on Sunday. I mean, look, this is the end of the game. I don't know what else he's supposed to do here, but, it could be like a... Who throws that?
You can't throw it up. You can't toss it up like a bean bag. You got to throw it at the ground if you're going to attempt to do that. I know you don't want to take a 4th and 20, but I hate to see the game end that way. That's just tough.
My wife tells me all the time, she's like, Dex, you need to calm down.
Yeah.
She's like, you get way too invested in this stuff. I mean, I don't profess to be a head coach or nothing, but I mean, I love this game, and I know football. I don't know much about anything. I know how to run a restaurant, right? I know how to fold a fitted sheet. I know football. I mean, I can make some scrambled eggs. I know football. Jimmy G has to go, and he's gonna be gone. The body was still warm. They're in the losing locker room, and they're already talking about, well, now we're looking for teams to trade Jimmy G to. That's sad. That's sad. Can we fly home first?
You want to know what's even more sad? Someone's going to trade a first-round pick for him.
He's going to get a first-round pick. Jimmy G and Derek Carr could get first. Rob the Raider. Where does Jimmy G play next week? Rob the Raider's in the house, everybody. He's coming. Where's Jimmy G play next year, Spencer?
Steelers.
Steelers? I could see it. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't go there, watch Jimmy G go there. Why? Because he's a winner. Aaron Rodgers just bought a house in Nashville. Yep. Jimmy G is Alex Smith that can't run. That's Jimmy G. He wins.
He's just Kroger brand Derek Carr to me.
He wins, but he doesn't win anything. Next. Discuss the next wave of quarterbacks as predicted by my man in the house, Rob the Raider. Mahomes will be Marino. Burrow will be Montana. Allen will be Aikman. Jackson will be Elway. Herbert will be Favre. And I'll go on record as saying Kyler Murray will be
on his couch.
Kyler Murray's terrible. Kyler Murray will be Doug Flutie. You know what I mean? I like this new crop of Super Bowl talent that's coming up. I really, really like Herbert. I really, really like Allen. I really, really like those analogies. And understand that nothing about the total ring count here. It's just more of how they'll be viewed. Okay, I think right now Patrick Mahomes is taking a humongous step back, even though he's still Patrick Mahomes. The coaching has just been a nightmare. I like Joe Burrow and Josh Allen to dominate this league for the next 5 years. Patrick Mahomes, he's not going to have much around him. They're going to lose a lot. But those guys are on the come-up. I will go on record right now as saying this right now. I'm going to push all my chips into the middle of the table. The Buffalo Bills are winning next year's Super Bowl.
There's one player on this list that I think deserves a discussion, and that's Lamar Jackson. Mm-hmm. I know the guy won an MVP. This is a big offseason for him. I think he's probably going to get paid more than he deserves in this offseason because they just don't have a choice. There's no one better than him. But this guy's got to learn to pass the football consistently, or else – I mean, they're just going to be a fringe playoff team for years and years to come.
They'll just go for 2 and lose it again, no matter what the situation. So I mean, I'm already on fire, and I already feel the attacks coming from the rest of the world. So I'm just going to double down on what I'm going after everyone today. Lamar Jackson sucks. Lamar Jackson's not a good quarterback.
He's got a long way to go.
Lamar Jackson is an amazing, gifted athlete. He is not a good quarterback. He can't throw a 5-yard out. He can't. Come on, Baltimore fans. I'm here for all of it, man.
I think they may be the first in line.
I'm here for all of it.
Tyler Huntley came in and looked.
He looked every bit as good. Now, I know he's won an MVP. Guys have huge years. Cam had a humongous year. Cam had a year that will have somebody thinking about Cam Newton coming in to help their team in 2028. That's the type of year Cam had.
He rode the wave for the next 5 years.
Cam Newton will be on someone's team next year. You think he won't? I'll triple down on that right now. I got any kind of money. Someone will take Cam. And he was horrible since then. Horrible. Lamar Jackson hasn't does a thing in this league since he won that MVP. Not a thing. So I like the list, Rob the Raider. I take issue with a couple things, but for the most part, I think it's all about Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow, because that boy is ice cold. Boy, Joe Burrows. Joe Burrows. Has Joe Burrow lost at anything in his life? Joe Burrow was 5 years old playing like marbles or like checkers with like the other kids in kindergarten, and like if he thought he was gonna lose, he like just knocked the thing over. Like you play Monopoly with Joe Burrow, like be prepared to cry. Like
you could put this guy at center for the
Joe
for
Burrow,
the Golden State Warriors, and they'd win a championship.
I'm gonna take it one step further here, man. I see a lot of Tom Brady in Joe Burrow.
Ooh.
I see a lot of Tom Brady in Joe Burrow. A lot. I see the swag. I see the confidence. The boy has never lost.
He didn't look that. I mean, he was happy to win, but he didn't look. He wasn't out of his mind when
He
they
wasn't
won
out of his mind. But again, I think a lot of people don't give the defense of the Kansas City Chiefs enough of their flowers, man. They held that team down. It's just they were gassed. You get the ball first in overtime, you're losing that game under these current set of rules. Fact. That's just how it goes. All right, folks, that's enough for the mailbag. I'm going to tease my special guest, friend of the show, big-time supporter, Felony Fitness. Rob the Raiders in the house, man. We're going to mic him up, get him set up here, and we're going to go over a couple things. You've been watching Spencer the Wiz. My name is Dexter Reed. We're going to pay a couple bills. We'll see you guys on the flip. You're watching World of Matchups. Don't go away. Heroes Heating and Air are HVAC experts with great customer service and an unbeatable price point. They are certified Rheem heating and air conditioning equipment dealers in the Southern Oregon area, including Medford, Grants Pass, and Ashland. They offer free bids and estimates, 24-hour repair service, new installation and replacements, attractive maintenance agreements, and a senior citizen special with home efficiency replacements. Check them out online at heroesheatingandair.com or call 541-821-1615. All right, everybody, welcome back. I have in studio with me a man that needs no introduction anywhere in the civilized free world. Husband, father, Raider fan extraordinaire, Felony Fitness Esquire. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a hand for Mr. Rob the Raider. Welcome back to the show, my guy. Appreciate you coming on.
All day, I appreciate.
All right,
having
let's
me on.
talk about what happened in the National Football League since we don't have a show this week. First things first. Did Cincinnati win that game, or did the Kansas City Chiefs lose that game? Your thoughts?
I think that it's kind of a misnomer in football when they say someone's won and someone's lost, because it's the only sport of the major four professional sports in which the offense and the defense are two entirely separate units. I just want to say it this way. Joe Burrow absolutely won that game. That man has ever lost in the playoffs was in his senior year of high school, where he still went 500 all-purpose in 6 quarters. The man just doesn't lose in the playoffs, and we should be acting surprised that he was going to lose to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. We all know that Patrick Mahomes, came out bald in the first half, and then in the second half, after that 15-play workbook that Andy Reid trots out every year failed. We're not surprised about that, but Joe Burrow galvanizes that team. Everybody on the defense believes in Joe Burrow. Everybody on special teams believes in Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is that special. Joe Burrow doesn't necessarily have to throw the 400 yards, 4 tutties to get that team to win. It's just knowing that if they didn't perform on the defensive side of the ball, and if they didn't perform on special teams, they think that the Joe Burrow, action mode would have activated. They still were going to win anyway. So Joe Burrow absolutely won that game for them.
I mean, it's hard to argue. That Joe Mixon's my favorite running back in the National Football League, has been for years. And, as much as it hurt as a Chief fan, it was nice to see him getting his flowers. And I think that there was a time where I said that, I wasn't sure if they should have taken Joe Burrow, because Chase Young was there, and I'm happy that they did, because now you're witnessing greatness from a team that really has done nothing in decades. And I seem to think that them even getting that many points in the Super Bowl is kind of a slap in the face and just another hurdle for them to carry. Now, I'm not sure which way I'm going to go. Spencer seems to think that they're going to get smoked. I'm not so sure. We'll talk about that more the next week. So, as a black man to black man, Brian Flores comes out this week, and he's suing the league. Your thoughts on how this looks to the league, what you think will happen, and if you're Brian Flores?
I think that the league has an optics problem. The optics are, you look on the field and you see 58% African-American players. Then you look on the sideline and you see 1 out of 32 head NFL coaches right now that are black. This league is driven on one thing and one color only, and that's money. And so it's going to be very hard for me to say that specifically if an equal black candidate and an equal white candidate was put together, resume to resume, who the team would choose. I think that optically the team obviously would have chose a white coordinator or a white person for the job. However, I do not think that if the resumes were unequal and the black candidate was ahead and the white candidate was behind, that the league would choose the white candidate over a more qualified black candidate. So I believe it's an optics problem. I believe that we need something a little bit more involved than just the Rooney Rule, in which you have to bring a candidate of color in or a candidate of equal ilk in at the same time. I think that we need to have it so where if a candidate is vetted by the league and this, and this, not hiring a candidate from this certain pool will penalize the team necessarily more than any other team. So, it's a very hard discussion to have because it involves race. But at the end of the day, I think it's a discussion that we need to have, because when you look at the sideline and you only see Mike Tomlin out there, it kind of screams to the discrepancy of the league.
Token Tomlin. I think the Rooney Rule has worked against the National Football League personally. And I think it's sad that we even need to have a Rooney Rule, quite honestly. Whatever happened to hire the best person for the job, man, woman, or child. And I think the NFL's got a real problem, and I think you hit the nail on the head with the optics. How it looks is more important to the NFL than how it is. And, boy, that's most of America, but that's for a whole nother – that's maybe for Michelle's show. Let's talk about the legacy of Matthew Stafford if he wins next Sunday. Where does he get put amongst the greats?
At the very bottom. I mean, we're going to sit here and act like he doesn't have Aaron Donald, the most transcendent player of his generation on defense right now? Are we going to sit there and act like they don't have Cooper Kupp, that they don't have Cam Akers, they don't have Odell Beckham Jr.? I mean, they have a killer's row of who's who on both sides of the ball. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and give this man any flowers for winning it, but I will definitely be throwing the dirt on his coffin if he does lose it. But I don't think Stafford gets any credit. I mean, it's not like this man is coming to an empty war chest and he built this team and he's throwing it to bums and he's dealing with bums. This man is surrounded with more talent than you can throw a stick at, and it just shows to show how bad Jared Goff was, not necessarily how good Matthew Stafford is.
Let's say, for instance, there's a minute left in the game and they get the ball at the 5-yard line and he marches that team down and runs it in for the game-winning score. Would your thoughts on Stafford change, or he's still a bum that's a little bit better than Trent Dilfer that won a ring with the Rams?
I believe it's one of those things that's like right there in the middle, because you're going to get a lot of detractors who are going to say they should have never even been down with a minute left to go in the game and having to have to do that. You guys are so stacked. You guys should be smoking the Bengals. The Bengals are what, 5-point dogs now? 5.5-point dogs right now?
Points.
I love the Bengals at 5.5 points too, and I love the Bengals outright to win the game. I just don't believe in Matthew Stafford. I think that if he was so good, he would have just dragged the Lions to the playoffs every year, or at least been close. But they've been the drudgery of the NFC or the NFC. Where do they play? The NFC North. They've been the drudgery of the NFC North my entire life. So we can't sit here now and expect Matthew Stafford to do anything good for the Rams. I believe if they win it, he should have won it. And if they lose it, it's because of him.
Interesting take.
I couldn't disagree more.
Me too.
The Lions are the worst franchise in the 3 major sports ever. Ever.
The Lions are a factory
They
of
have
sadness.
one playoff win in their franchise history.
I love Stafford. I'm torn because the Bengals are my wife's team, but I really want to see Matt Stafford get this win. I think Matt Stafford is the toughest son of a bitch playing in the National Football League. The guy had a separated shoulder, went back in the game, threw a touchdown, and then went to the sideline. Every other quarterback in this league would have been in the fetal position. Matthew Stafford's never had any help, ever. Matthew Stafford carried his own freaking clipboard. No one's ever helped Matthew Stafford do anything. And I know Cooper Kupp. I know Aaron
Calvin
Donald.
Johnson
but,
is
this is a
calling
guy
me right
who
now.
I
saying,
gave Matthew
what?
Stafford the Maggie MVP at the half. He had a couple clunkers, but if he goes out there and he gets it like not fall in his lap, Manning style for his second ring, but actually wins it. I don't know.
A 5,000-yard season. I mean, this guy makes Cooper
Megatron,
Kupp look like
Cooper
Megatron
Kupp.
2.0.
You got to remember who the quarterback was who was throwing these balls, but I honor your – hey, I love your opinion. I love when people I bring on the show's opinion goes against mine. I mean, I value Rob the Raiders' opinion almost more than anybody. Let's talk about the Raiders, bro. We can't bring you to the show and not let you talk about the Raiders. It's been your third or fourth time on the show. Every time you come on, it's almost like a tale of two cities. Let's talk about Josh McDaniels. Do you love the hire? What do you want to see in the draft? Where do you think the Vegas Raiders go? Derek Carr, dude, the floor is yours. We're here for all of it.
All right. I was a huge fan of Rich Bisaccia. I believe that he should have had the opportunity to prove he wasn't the man for the job, because taking us to the playoffs showed he was the man for the job at that particular point. I mean, if we look at what this season, what we went through, I mean, we had a coach who was doing the most in his emails from times ago. We got another player driving 120 miles an hour down Rainbow, killing somebody. We had another player on Facebook Live threatening somebody and then posting it to his story like a dummy. Then following that, we had another DB catching DUI. I mean, we had everything go sideways this season, and yet we still limped and dragged to the playoffs, and we performed admirably against him who's currently in the Super Bowl. So it's not like we're that far off. We can sit here and laugh and say, yeah, we got smoked by the
Bengals.
Chiefs, and we got smoked by this team. But did we not play the eventual Super Bowl representative for the AFC closely to that?
You had a chance to win that game. You had a chance to win that game.
But when they're calling, blowing the whistle, when they're blowing the whistle while the ball's in the air, what do you want us to do? But we're Raiders fans, and we know this is what happens against the Raiders. I am also, though, a big, huge supporter of Josh McDaniels. I think Josh McDaniels learned a lesson the last time he coached in the football league, which was with the Broncos. I think that he realizes that you can't just be a Bill Belichick clone. You can't come in. All these other coaches that have followed Bill Belichick have tried to be clones. The Patricias, the Adam Gases. All these, they wanted these to be these automatons that we're robots. All we do is win. It doesn't work in the National Football League unless you're that man. I believe Josh McDaniels is talented. I believe that he put out a very supportive statement for Derek Carr. I said at the beginning of the season, Derek Carr is my quarterback. Derek Carr will remain my quarterback. And I believe that we will up the ransom for Derek Carr. We will sign him. He's going to get that 5-year max extension deal. It'll be slotted in somewhere underneath Josh Allen, but probably above, someone else of that.
If I had a genie right now, one of my wishes would be for that not to happen.
I said it the other day, man. When they beat the Chargers, I said Derek Carr is going to be a Raider for life. Derek Carr is not going anywhere, and I think it's a mistake. But I love Rob the Raiders' loyalty to Carr. And I love your take, man. I love your take on the Raiders. All right, folks, we're going to wrap it up.
I think that
we've waxed poetic enough. We want to definitely thank you for coming on, Rob, as always. The way you and Stacy and Felony Fitness has sewed into World of Matchups. We look forward to doing business with you guys in the future. We'll always have you on. Our door is always open to you. We wish you and the Raiders luck in the future, albeit, the Chiefs are in the same division. We're not haters of each other. We are football fans first, and those are the things that I love about you, and thank you so much for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Spencer the Wiz, Grab It Television, World of Matchups, Dexter Reed, thank you for the season that you have helped us have. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rob the Raider. Let's give him a round of applause. All right, folks, that's the show. No game this week. You got the Pro Bowl. They'll give you something to do if you're a football degenerate like myself. You watch a Pro Bowl, whatever. I mean, it's here in Vegas. You can go see some of the stars practice. It's free, but just keep in mind that the Pro Bowl's kind of a joke, but whatever. Anyway, just a reminder, folks, we're everywhere on social media. We mentioned it before. You want to definitely find us, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Go to grabit.com. Like, subscribe, sign up. That way, when we get the information, we can bring it to you. Show us some love. We'll show some back. I want to tease our special guest for Super Bowl week. NFL player who is on hiatus right now, mending a bad back, Mr. Tyrell Crosby, will be helping us break down the Super Bowl matchup with the Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Rams. The former Oregon product, the former Lions product, will either be here in studio or remote, giving us his take on what we think is going to happen on Super Bowl Sunday. All right, folks, on behalf of Spencer the Wiz, Grab It Television, my name is Dexter Reed. Just remember that you are watching the most comprehensive, productive, progressive, and uncensored National Football League television show to hit the big screen this season. We are getting ready to close out World of Matchups, but don't go away. We still have one more show. Thank you for your support. Enjoy Super Bowl week hiatus. We'll talk to you guys next week.